Are a band of angels coming after you, coming for to carry you home? Have you seen the wheel, way up in the middle of the air? Are you not afraid? If not, dang it, I asked a negative question. Okay, point is, biblically accurate angels are inaccurate, and here's why. Smash cut to title card. For the Bible passages referenced in this video, I'm going to be using the King James Version. Why? Because it's copyright free. Starting with Genesis chapter 18. Context for this passage: three angels appear to Abraham. He's very hospitable to them, and they bless him. Two angels appear to his cousin Lot, who lives in Sodom, and things go southward. Here's the important bits. Verse 1, and there came two angels to Sodom at even, so we know that they are angels. And then in verse 5, the people of Sodom called unto Lot and said unto him, Where are the men which came into thee this night? Anyway, the men of Sodom clearly mistook the angels for men, which could really only mean that they closely resembled them. So that's it, really? Angels just look like humans? Yes, I got more examples. Joshua 5:13. He lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, there stood a man over against him with his sword drawn in his hand. And Joshua went unto him and said unto him, Art thou for us or for our adversaries? And he said, Nay, but as captain of the host of the Lord am I now come. Double or nothing. Daniel 9:21. Yea, whiles I was speaking in prayer, even the man Gabriel, that's not his epithet, touched me about the time of the evening oblation. Not convinced? Judges 6:12. Gideon is threshing wheat, and the angel of the Lord appeared unto him, and said unto him, The Lord is with thee, thou mighty man of valor. And he doesn't even realize it's an angel until verse 22. And when Gideon perceived that he was an angel of the Lord, Gideon said, Alas, O Lord God, for behold, I have seen an angel of the Lord face to face. This is apparently pretty common, because Hebrew 13:2 warns, Be not forgetful to entertain strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unawares. Okay, but that's just angels. What about cherubim and seraphim? Well, Exodus 25 gives us a pretty exhaustive description of the Ark of the Covenant, which depicts two cherubim facing each other. And while it doesn't describe them completely, verse 20 notes that the cherubims shall stretch forth their wings on high, covering the mercy seat with their wings, and their faces shall look one to another. Towards the mercy seat shall the faces of the cherubims be. So it certainly seems like they at least have faces, and the fact that they aren't really described fully might indicate that they do just look like people. But that is just speculation. 1 Kings 6:23 through 26 additionally describes a depiction of the cherub in the temple, and helpfully notes that 5 cubits was the one wing of the cherub, and 5 cubits was the other wing of the cherub. From the utmost part of one wing to the uttermost part of the other were 10 cubits. I don't really understand the point of that calculation, but verse 26 says that the cherub is 10 cubits tall as well, which is also generally true for human height and arm span, so, just saying. 2 Chronicles 3:13 continues this depiction by maintaining that they stood on their feet. The good news is that this does allow me to sustain my biblically accurate angel foot fetish, but it does provide some evidence against the common depiction. 1 Kings 8:7 says, For the cherubim spread forth their two wings, so womp womp, onto seraphim though. Isaiah 6:2 says that they had 6 wings, and with twain he covered his face, twain he covered his feet, and with twain did he fly. Verse 6, Then flew one of the seraphims unto me, holding a live coal in his hand. Now that we have built up a substantial counterclaim, we can start to address the evidence in favor of the myth, namely the book of the prophet Ezekiel and the revelation of St. John. But before we get into that, you need to understand something. You may very well not believe the stories of the Bible, and that's fine. I'm not trying to convert you or anything, but there are people who do, and to those people, if you went back to Lot in the city of Sodom, or Jesus' tomb after the 3 days, or even Isaiah after the death of King Uzziah, you would see literal, physical angels. But Ezekiel is not like that. Ezekiel is a vision, and what he sees are not physical angels. What he sees are visions that represent the salient information with symbolism. With that out of the way, let's look at Ezekiel 1. Wait, here's the important bits. They had the likeness of a man, everyone had 4 faces, everyone had 4 wings, their feet were straight feet, their soles of their feet were like that of a calf, and they sparkled like burnished brass. They had the hands of a man under their wings onto the 4 sides, and they had 4 faces, and they had wings. They already said that, but they have them again. Their wings were joined one to another. One face was a man, right side is a lion, left side is an ox, back is an eagle. Wings are stretched upwards, two covering the body, two joined one to another. Faces stretched upwards. Appearance was like burning coals of fire. The fire was bright, and out of the fire went forth lightning. They moved around without turning, each of them just moving straight. End paragraph. So, what does Ezekiel 10 add? Well, going back to Ezekiel 1, it goes on to describe wheels, four wheels to be exact, which are somehow connected to the creatures. These wheels are covered in eyes, look like barrel, and they look like a wheel within a wheel. Ezekiel 10 to 12 says that the cherub's entire body is covered in eyes, which he states entails backs, hands, wings, and wheels, although he does sort of combine them weirdly, so I'm not sure. Additionally, he restates the faces as lion, eagle, man, and cherub. The note here points to Ezekiel 41, where two cherubim have two faces each, man facing a tree and lion facing away from a tree. This is also just a depiction of them in Temple of Art, however. Lots of contradictions, so it's pretty clear that this is not meant to be taken literally. Does Revelation shed any light? Well, let's see. Revelation 4 finally kicks things into high gear. It refers to its angels as beasts. There are four total, one like a lion, one like a calf, one like an eagle, and one with the face of a man. You see, those same animals keep popping up, but this time they each have a different face instead of all of them having all four. It's those subtle differences that help prove not just symbolism. Anyway, six wings, full of eyes, do not rest, constantly sing praises to God. End scene. To be generous, I'm gonna try and reconcile the two visions. It says explicitly multiple times that the creatures do not turn. So, if you only have one point of view to look at all of them and they're all oriented differently, you could potentially make the mistake of thinking that they all have different faces. And it's possible that the wheels aren't part of their body, they just sort of like strap into them or something. Anyway, in the next chapter, they have harps now, and golden vials full of incense that are actually prayers. And the biggest evidence yet, verse 11 of Revelation 5 mentions angels, and yet it continues to refer to the quote, biblically accurate angels as just beasts. Anyway, the beasts continue to be in the background for the rest of Revelation. Rev 7 introduces four angels, Rev 10 gives us another angel, clothed with a cloud, rainbow on his head, sun face, fire feet. He has a book in his hand, then John takes it from him, and he eats the book, and it tastes like honey, just to remind you how insane the book of Revelation is. After that, and as previously stated, when the physical characteristics of an angel aren't enumerated, I assume that's because there's nothing out of the ordinary to describe. So, what do we learn from this? Well, angels are just like you and me. After all, God made man in his own image. Why shouldn't the angels get the same treatment? I don't have a deeper philosophical point about this. It's just something that annoys me, and I wanted to set the record straight. But while I'm here, we might as well do ERB Inaccuracies Part 3. The victims of the Ford massacre weren't marching for better wages. They were unemployed and were marching to get a job in the first place.